So as I said before, Kelly has been a part of FranNet, and that's how we originally met. And she left FranNet to become the Vice President of Franchise Development at Premium Service Brands. She's also a Crossroads facilitator, a certified social marketer, and content writer. So you can reach out to Kelly to learn more about franchise opportunities with the premium service brands, including Made Right, 360 Printing, ProLift Garage Doors, Handman Pro, Kitchen Wise, and Renew Crew. And Kelly, I'll leave it to you to fill in the gaps from that little overview.
That sounds great, Jim. Thank you so much. And it's great to be here. Richard, I don't know if I've ever heard you speak without a Yogi Berra quote. So you may have to take that up and bring one up if we've got time at the end, because I'm sure there'll be something relevant from Yogi Berra when it comes to marketing.
Well, thank you. I didn't have a slide today, so I didn't put Yogi up.
Yeah. And I will comment just as we're getting started about what you and Jim have been talking about and the importance of groups like Bing and, of course, my career at Crossroads Group, and just any real networking that you can do, whether it be online, whether it be picking up the phone and calling someone you haven't talked to in a while. You know, we've all been social distancing for a while, but I will speak personally to the power of networking. So I appreciate that introduction, Jim, but things have actually changed for me since I sent that 2 weeks ago. I actually have transitioned out of franchise development and back into my first love, which is marketing. And I was part of a reorg. You know, I've been helping people explore business ownership as part of Leslie Cuban's team for about 6 years. Went into franchise development myself, and many times it was people in career transition, but I have not been in career transition myself, and I found myself cast into that world about 2 weeks ago. And through the power of networking, and all of you find people that I talk to regularly and people I've stayed connected with in LinkedIn over the years, I reached out to someone who put a job post out there. I've reached out and said, hey, we haven't talked in a while, but I saw your job. Can we connect? We had lunch, we had an interview. I had a second interview, and I'm back employed within a 2-week time frame. So I'm real excited to talk to you. I start my new job on Wednesday. That's tomorrow. And I'll let you know a little bit more about that. But again, going back into the marketing world, which is what I'm here to talk to you about today, because LinkedIn publishing is a marketing tool. And if you're not taking advantage of it, I highly suggest that you do, because it is super easy and quite effective when used properly. Okay, so let's start the slideshow. So this is really about strengthening your personal brand through LinkedIn. And there are people like Lynn and like Richard and Jim who are much more proficient at LinkedIn technically than I am. I'm not a LinkedIn expert, but I am a writer and a publisher of articles on LinkedIn. So specifically, we're going to be talking about the publishing platform. A lot of people still don't know about this publishing platform. It used to be called LinkedIn Pulse. There are a few people on the call today that I'm going to bring in to talk about their experience about LinkedIn publishing, because there are people who do it very well and leverage it as a marketing tool. So our agenda today is really just to talk about what is LinkedIn publishing, who can publish, who should publish. Of course, you know, I'm a student of Richard Kirby, so I must put an inspiring yet relevant quote in there, maybe a little pithy quote. Why should you publish? How do you publish? Guys, this is super easy. You're not going to believe how easy it is. Who you might want to follow to see some really good examples of content creation using LinkedIn. And then I'd love to save some time for discussion. We've got great folks, and you're here to network as well. So I'm not going to talk your ear off. Let's discuss at the end. So this is the message really today, is stop sharing other people's content. Everybody that is part of the LinkedIn organization, I mean, you heard Lynn talk about, you got to qualify, right? Which means that we are all executives, we're all professionals, we've got great resumes, great networks to share with each other. Why would you share other people's content? You are thought leaders in your industry, or else you wouldn't be here today. Even if you find yourself in a career transition unexpectedly, you are still an expert in your field and have plenty to share. So while it's great to share everybody else's content every now and then, or things that you may want to comment on, Let's create some of your own content. And you don't need to have a blog or a website to do that. If you have a LinkedIn profile, you have your own blog. That's really what this is. So I was talking earlier when we got on this morning about, I updated some statistics, and Lynn will bear this out. LinkedIn has changed. LinkedIn is always changing. If someone asks you what's new at a networking meeting and you don't have much to say about your own life, you can say, hey, LinkedIn changed their algorithm again. It's fascinating because they're always changing it. LinkedIn turns 18 this year. That's unbelievable. I mean, I remember when it was kind of this, oh my gosh, I got a LinkedIn connection in my email. I don't even know what that is. To now, if you don't have a LinkedIn profile, a lot of times people don't think you're a legitimate professional. So at least have something out there. There's 260 million active users. There's a lot more than that internationally, but 260 million active using it every day. A recent survey, of course, people have lost a lot of faith in the social networks and the tech people out there recently because of some of their shenanigans, but LinkedIn is the most trusted social network by far. So people like us, professionals looking for jobs, looking to connect, even looking to sell, to market, are on LinkedIn. Content creation has absolutely exploded on LinkedIn in the last several years. Of course, 2020, we were home. Maybe we were thinking about, gosh, I've always wanted to have a blog. I've always wanted to share. And now I've got some time because I'm not sitting in the Atlanta traffic 2 hours every day. So let me create some content. So if you're not sharing content on LinkedIn, get in it now because it keeps increasing and you can be part of a not so busy network that is getting busier all the time. LinkedIn users are 20 times more likely to share content. So if you are creating content, you're probably going to find some folks out there that are willing to share it. What does that do? It gets you noticed. It gets you out there. It builds your personal brand. Who can publish articles on LinkedIn? Certainly if you're a job seeker or you're in career transition. This is a way, it's fascinating to me because I actually was applying for a job with a marketing group here in Atlanta. And I was thinking, I better have some content out there. And I went and looked back and I have 3 or 4 articles, not a ton, but I need to have more. But my employer went and looked at samples of my writing in LinkedIn and samples of what I post on LinkedIn. This is a great way for you to showcase your expertise and your talent. If you're a consultant, then you're an expert in your field. And you definitely want to be able to showcase your expertise and your talent and your skills as a consultant so that people will, of course, want to hire you and give you some gig work. Business owners, leaders, students, even students are on here. Eventually, you're going to be in the job market. You also may be working on a master's or PhD, and you've got things that you want to be able to share and also spread the word about what you're doing so that you can build that for your future. Educators, essentially anybody who is on LinkedIn can and probably should be publishing at least every now and then. So that means you. LinkedIn publishing is a marketing tool. This is a way to help you get discovered. I've been saying this, demonstrate your credibility, add personality and context to your profile. There are some boxes that you need to make sure you filled out on your LinkedIn profile and they're business-like, they're almost resume-like, right? Well, if you wanted to add some personality and the look and feel that is in addition to your LinkedIn profile, go ahead and start publishing. It's part of an online presence for you. You can see analytics on it. We were talking earlier about, gosh, I posted and I only got 3 or 4 views and what happened there. You can look at some analytics and see what kind of content people are interested, who's sharing your content, where they're sharing it. And also keep in mind that your posts on LinkedIn are indexed on Google. So if you want to be noticed more on Google, you can publish on LinkedIn and those articles that you publish will come up in Google search. They're also shareable on other networks. So we mentioned earlier, what's the difference between a post and an article? Posts are generally a lot shorter. Articles actually have their own unique link. So a couple of years ago, LinkedIn decided that when you publish an article on LinkedIn, you can post it on Facebook or Twitter. You can put it into an email. So as a link, and that link will go directly to that article, whether the person has a LinkedIn profile or not, they can open it and read it. So it's very much like having your own blog.
Hey, Kelly, this is Kent. Quick question on that. can you repost articles that you have written in the past?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you absolutely can. As a matter of fact, if you wrote something 5 years ago, I would highly suggest that you repost it with maybe an update.
Okay.
2021 update from, 5 years ago, and I'll give you some examples
Yeah.
of articles that would be relevant there. But yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Any other questions about this? Is kind of high level still right now. We're going to dive in. Okay. So I alluded to this earlier, articles versus posts. So articles are generally going to be a lot longer. There's some disparity out there. I'd love to hear Lynn's opinion on this. Is some people think that long form articles in LinkedIn, the reason why you want that is because you have 2,000. I mean, you probably want about 2,000 characters. I personally think that's way, way too long. I'd like to see somewhere between, 700 and 1,000 words there. Any way in there from you, Lynn, on the article post length, ideally?
So you can have up to 40,000, is it characters or word? No, 40,000 characters on a LinkedIn article. When things go on Google to build SEO, like I build SEO on our website, so I'm just going to apply transferable knowledge here to LinkedIn. You need to have at least 300 words to build SEO in Yoast on a website, for example. So I typically write 300 to 500-ish, but I've also written, 900 to 1,200.
Right.
If you show your authority, your expertise, and you can include links or references to your research, if people are into the topic, it really doesn't matter how long it is, you know?
Yeah. I don't know if Leslie Cuban's online, my favorite lady here in Atlanta. But Leslie is a prolific sharer of articles on LinkedIn. And I think, Leslie, I think your average probably is somewhere 500, 700 to 1,000 words on there as well. So this is a way for you to have, a long form sharing. And again, Lynn mentioned this, and this is smart. Let's have links in there. Let's make sure that you are linking to other, other articles where are relevant to whatever it is, the topic that you're talking about. So post.
Kelly,
yes.
Can I like to keep my posts to about 750 words, 650 to 750 or so. What I've found that is if I've got a lot of subject matter, then, I use it as a, multiple part series. And sort of as a marketing tool, keep people coming back. If they like the first one, then come back for the second installment. And so instead of writing, 2,000 words, just give it to them over multiple sessions.
Now, see, that's what makes you a great marketer and a great networker, Jim.
I'm blushing now.
That's exactly right. I mean, if you had a lot to say, if you broke it out into, of course, I'm a fan of the threes, right, in landscaping and in various faith-based things. I'm a fan of threes. So first of three, second of three, third of three, that keep people engaged and going, especially when you have lots of content. So, posts are important. We are in this network for Bang, right? When Jim posts or Richard or Leslie posts, I want to share that, because I want to help them. They're part of my network, and they're going to return the favor to me as well. So it's great when you are sharing other people's content through posts when you have some friends, and you're going to ask them as you post articles. So really what I'm saying here is that you need a combination on LinkedIn. You do need to post and engage with other people's posts and share other people's content. And when you do write your own, then you want to ask other people to share as well. When you decide whether or not it's an article or a post really depends on how much you want to share, how much you want to say about it. Because we've all been there, right? Somebody writes a post that's 300 words and you just scroll past it. I mean, you're just not listening to it at all. If they write a comment and share an article and you're interested in what the article title is and what they said about it, then you'll probably click on it and read most of the article. So it really just depends on the type of content and the length of the content that you want to share as to what works better. There's a balance there. Okay, here it comes, Richard. Get ready. This is my pithy quote. A lot of people say I have writer's block. I don't know what to write about. Well, you can't think yourself out of a writer's block. You have to write yourself out of a thinking block. You're probably overthinking it. Last time I attended an in-person Bang meeting, there was no shortage of people with topics to talk about. If you have something to talk about at a networking meeting, whether it be about yourself, your industry, you know, what's going on in the world, you probably have an opinion. Everybody seems to have one. So let's go ahead and talk about it through a long form LinkedIn publishing post. Don't be afraid. Here's what you can ask yourself. You know, what image do I want to portray online? What do I want to be known for? Now, what do I want to be really good at? What do I want other people to know that I'm good at? What am I uniquely qualified to comment and write about? I want to share things with the world. What do I want the world to know? What conversations do I want to start and be a part of and engage others in? And what's happening in my industry or my particular career path right now? What's going on? Doug Reifschneider, he's not here today, but he is a longtime Bing member, and he is actually really great about sharing industry knowledge and commenting on it. He's one of the people I'm going to suggest that you follow. But these are some of the ways that you can begin thinking about what to write on LinkedIn. I do suggest you have a content publishing calendar so that your content flows between posts and articles and it's topical and relevant for you. But you don't need to have anything fancy. A simple Excel spreadsheet would work for that. So this is kind of what it looks like when we've all posted on LinkedIn, I can imagine. So when you go to start a post, you have various options here. You can put a photo, you can use a video, and I do an entire talk on how great video is and what types of video to use. That's another day. You can post an event or you can write an article. When you click on write an article, simply in your LinkedIn here, you write an article and you will be able to pick an image, put a headline, and just start typing. Now, I don't suggest when you go to do this that you just start typing in here. What I do suggest is that you open up a Word document or Pages or a text editor, whatever your preferred word processor is, and go ahead and create your content in that word processor. Don't do it in LinkedIn. Why? Their spell check stinks and their grammar is not going to be great. So you want to make sure that you are putting your content together in a word processor. And when it's wonderfully ready, you've had a second set of eyes look at it, then you want to copy and paste it into LinkedIn. Does that make sense to everybody? We've all posted something with a typo. Don't act like you haven't. Right, Lynn? Maybe Leslie hasn't. Leslie doesn't do that. But so let's move on. Let's talk about how to do this. I've given you kind of the high level on that. So first of all, develop your content. You may even brainstorm. If you have an iPad and the new iPad pencil, let me tell you, that's a great way to start brainstorming some ideas. But we're all really smart people. What I want to caution you against is trying to be too smart on your LinkedIn. You want to gear your content. Some people say a high school level. I'd say about an 11-year-old. So you're really smart in your industry, and that's great. You want to demonstrate that, but you must make your content so that an 11-year-old could read it and understand it. Unless you're writing a white paper, and you're probably not doing that on LinkedIn. We'll talk about sourcing imagery. Imagery is hugely important, as evidenced by the proliferation of things like Instagram. And of course, Facebook used to be you would write a note and not post an image. Then eventually it became you didn't post anything without an image. So imagery is hugely important. You want a catchy title. You don't want to just have this boring, long 40 to 49 characters. It's not that much. There are resources out there. Just Google how to write a great headline. You do want to make sure you search on LinkedIn that nobody else has used that headline before. You want a unique headline, even if you just change one word. But the catchy title or headline is really important. I've mentioned this before, cut and paste your content so that it's spelling and grammar checked. Add links. It's important for you to add links. I would say avoid embedded video. So if you're fancy enough to know what embedded video is, you know what I'm talking about. Putting video into, rather than linking to a video in your LinkedIn post will cause it to not be found quite as easily. It complicates things unnecessarily. Of course, you want hashtags. Lynn talked about this. You know, Richard and I could probably talk about hashtags forever. You want hashtags so that people can find you. That's a searchability, findability issue. Always add a call to action. What do you want people to do? Jim mentioned this. Stay tuned for my second article. Stay tuned for my third article. Reach out to me if you know someone who is in career transition. Leslie might do. Reach out to me if you know somebody if you or somebody you know is looking to own your own business. I'd love to talk to you, right? Call to actions at the bottom are really important. You can put them throughout, but I would caution you not to be too forward about that agenda. Thursday's a great day to publish on LinkedIn. Why? People are getting through their week. A lot of people think posting on Saturday. Not so much. People are usually looking at LinkedIn during the week and shutting it down on the weekends for the vast most part. Now, there'll be exceptions, but Thursdays at lunchtime is your best time consistently to publish on LinkedIn. So think about the time of day, and you can put a draft together in LinkedIn for your article and publish it at a later time. You don't have to publish it on the day that you write it. It will save for you. So let's talk about imagery. I said it's really important. It's great if you can use your own photographs. If you don't have your own photographs for things, I mean, everybody has a phone with a camera on it now. You could take a great photograph, and it should be relevant to the topic, but it doesn't always have to be. There are sites like Unsplash. If you've never been to Unsplash, I would encourage you to spend some time there. You probably, if you're like me and love imagery, you'll probably get lost. You can search business, IT, recruiting, networking. You can search on anything and it will bring up free photographs. Now, I would say credit your photographs, and LinkedIn gives you a place to give credit to your photographer. These people work hard. They're giving you free stuff. Give them credit for their images. And LinkedIn, you used to have to worry about sizing your image the right way. LinkedIn will size it for you. So don't worry about that. But do try to be creative with your imagery. The same stock photos, I don't know about y'all, but I'm tired of seeing them. These are some great people to follow. If you want to read some articles and look at what some other people have done, of course, my favorite right there, Leslie Cuban. I want to put Tammy Wynette's, I don't think it's Tammy Wynette. I don't remember who it was that saying I was country when country wasn't cool. Leslie Cuban was on LinkedIn when LinkedIn wasn't cool. She's been on there forever, has a lot of great articles. Doug Reichsnyder is out there as well. He is in the franchise world and has been in the dining and restaurant industry for a while. So he writes about that. And of course, our own Lynn Williams, she posts on LinkedIn as well. So let me give her props. And I read some of your articles the other day, Lynn, and I think you're doing a great job. Thank you for supporting me in my job search recently, but definitely go follow these people and take a look at what it is that they're doing on LinkedIn. Slinda Richmond, this is our time to discuss, if you all remember Coffee Talk. I have cited my sources here for my statistics. I would love it if you would reach out and connect with me on LinkedIn. Because I am building a whole new network and a whole new career job that I am all excited about. But any questions as we move forward? I went through pretty quickly because I know you all have time, and I'm happy to talk to anybody offline about this. Steve.
Yes. Hey, Kelly. First of all, thank you very much. Love the presentation. Love the energy, especially, I guess it's not that early anymore, but it's great to see that energy this morning. So I've posted a series of articles, I think I mentioned in my pitch about innovation. So I'm kind of using it as a way of giving back, but also a branding opportunity. And I've done now a series of four different articles. And I think based on your description, I fell into kind of some of the best practices, which I kind of got lucky because this was my first attempt at doing that. One of the things you mentioned earlier was the fact of reposting them after a period of time. How often or how long should you wait before reposting? I did the series on a cadence of every 2 weeks, putting out an article on that subject. So when would you recommend going back and possibly even reposting the first one and sequence?
Did you post them? So you did 6 articles, did you say? And you posted them every 2 weeks?
I've done 4 so far. I'm actually working on my next article now, which is kind of a spin-off of some of the earlier stuff, but in a flavor more towards leadership of innovation versus the actual creation of an innovation organization.
I've seen people go back and post once they've gone through the entire series.
Okay.
They go back the next month and promo that. They may even create a post that is promoting the entire series. They might even create an article that promos the entire series and summarizes.
Interesting. Okay.
There are multiple ways to go about doing that, but I would say I would wait probably 60 days after the last article to go out and repost.
Okay.
And a lot of it depends on the subject matter. How much have things changed since you last posted? You may want to give an update. Since I last posted this, X has come up, right?
Okay.
Even if we have a new administration. What does that mean for what I talked to you about in this series, right? So a lot of it depends on that, but I would say a good rule would probably be 60 days after the last article. If you post a new article, then 60 days from the last one that you posted.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
I would say, Kelly, that especially if the post got a lot of attention, then that's definitely should be the priority for reposting and updating.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing I was going to mention is I said you get a unique link for your article. When you click on your article and you go up and copy the URL for it, if you're doing any email marketing or if you're doing any client reach out, you can definitely put that link. Hey, I'm not sure, by the way, if you've seen my latest article or my article series, here's a link for you to check it out. That's a great way for you to engage with clients as well. You know, those, I forgot who it was, said they were in franchise development. I did this all the time when I was with franchise development was, hey, here's the latest on what's going on with premium service brands. Here's an article. And it was a LinkedIn article that went into just a quick update. But that gives that article SEO and it gives you credibility because you have an article that's published. They didn't know how easy it was to publish that, right?
Yeah.
They just the link that they can click on and read about what they want to know.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess my only feedback there is to make sure you run that link through a bit.ly because LinkedIn will provide a very long link to that. So one of the things that I learned early on was to run that through a bit.ly so you get a really smaller version that you can then promote and link to other different articles.
Yep, that makes sense. When I do it in an email, I say click here and then I put the link behind the here.
Perfect. Yeah.
So that it's not this really long thing. But I think my article, yeah, you're right. It does put in a bunch of gobbledygook now that I think about it. So yeah, definitely bit.ly or Hootsuite has a URL shortener. Google used to have a URL shortener, but they discontinued it. So
yeah, bit.ly's free. So if you just go out there, it's good.
Create it. Any other questions, comments?
Yeah. As I alluded to earlier, what are the tactics behind using hashtags?
Gosh, that could be a subject for 8,000 hours of content. The idea behind using hashtags is so that people can search. Now, you tell me, Carl, do you ever go into the search bar of your social channels, including LinkedIn, and put hashtags to search?
Actually, no, I don't. No. But I know I work with a consulting firm, and they always have hashtags on the content that they post.
Now, the way I've used it before is I use Hootsuite to schedule my social media and to monitor engagement. And I also follow certain hashtags. I do this on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook, is I will follow a hashtag. And that way, if I want to know something, let's say franchising or home services franchising or digital marketing, I will use that hashtag. So it is becoming, it's taken a long time to really catch on, but it is becoming more and more popular. Now, here's what I would do. I would create a list of hashtags that you are going to use over and over again, maybe 10 or 15 that are relevant for the content that you're going to be producing, even if they're fairly generic, like digital marketing or, franchise development. You would create a list of hashtags that you want to use over and over again because you don't want to dilute your search and findability by having a hashtag that's always different. You may have, I would never use more than 3 in a post or in an article. I would use 3. And that would be, 2 of those would be ones that I used all the time over and over again. And 1 would be maybe unique to just that article. And it maybe have the date on it, how the 2020 election affected restaurants, kind of thing. And try to keep your hashtags fairly short. Now, if you're concerned about whether or not your hashtag is going to, be searchable, I would go ahead and follow that hashtag for a while. You could also do a Google AdWords search, and I can help you with that, Carl, if you want to look at that to see what search terms are most popular in your industry. That's a good way to do it as well. But definitely use them.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Kelly, but I believe when you write an article or it's either articles or posts or both, I think for sure with posts, there's a help. There's an information part of the screen that says add hashtags.
Yes.
And you click on that, and then you can start typing into the field job search or something, and you'll type JOB, and then it gives you a list of hashtags that start with the word JOB, yes. And you can pick one out of there. Or you can go ahead and type in what you think should be the hashtag and see if it comes up. And then I believe there's a way, although I haven't used it in a while, where you can see how many people are following a hashtag. So just like a Google AdWord, what's the power of this word? You can see what's the power of a hashtag, how many people are actually following that hashtag. And for those people would then see that post in their feed because they're following that hashtag.
That's correct.
So the hashtags you're creating aren't unique to you. They're just, so if I had hashtag marketing research, anyone who's following that hashtag my article will pop up there.
Yes.
You wouldn't want a unique hashtag because nobody's going to follow your unique hashtag that you created. So if it was marketing research, what you'd want to know, is it marketing research altogether, or is it marketing dash research, and use the one that people are following?
Carl, you can have a hashtag for yourself, and I would recommend it, because if anybody, is doing a search for you, especially if you have some of the hashtag with your name and then marketing research, that would be directing people back to you. So there's nothing wrong with that at all.
Right.
Yeah. And that's a good point, Richard, that you made, is LinkedIn's put the feature in to help you. If you put in, start typing marketing and LinkedIn suggests hashtag, the reason they're suggesting them is because that's what is trending in LinkedIn. So if you want to be part of that trend, part of the most followed hashtags, use those. So like I said, I would use 2 of those, and then I would use one that was maybe more unique to you or more specific. But I will put a plug in for LinkedIn Learning. So I went through this presentation fairly quickly. If you wanted to start publishing on LinkedIn, I highly suggest, well, first of all, that you give me a call or shoot me an email in LinkedIn, but also go to LinkedIn Learning and just search publishing on LinkedIn. They will give you step by step instructions. They have video. If you're not, a visual learner, you can read step by step. LinkedIn Learning is fantastic. Really, really great and very timely. So I would suggest going to LinkedIn Learning if you wanted to learn more about this. You don't have to pay an expert.
I think the most important thing about publishing on LinkedIn or blogging or whatever is it's been demonstrated to significantly shorten your time in job search. I talked to one of the senior consultants at Lee Hecht Harrison a couple of years ago, and he confirmed that for me. And it positions you as as a subject matter expert. So if you're looking to do freelancing, or if you got a small business, or you're looking to do independent consulting, then it's a win-win. So, and it doesn't have to be any kind of an academic style paper. I mean, most of my blog posts are just based on my experiences and my takeaway from those experiences. So, personal reflection is fine.
And Jim, you actually have offered this, I think, as part of your role in multiple roles, especially with ITB Partners. And that is, if somebody writes a piece of content and shares it with you, you will share it out with your network. Am I right?
Well, yeah, that's one of the benefits, shameless plug, for ITB Partners, is that we have a very active both blog page and public relations page. And so what we'll do, and we've got good SEO utilization there, so we can post your blog or your article and or your PR, and we'll do an email marketing campaign to get that out to our network, which is pretty vast. Then what I like to do is to you know, copy the headline and the link and put that on all the groups on LinkedIn that I'm a part of, including the ITB Partners company page and the group. That you know, the interesting thing, once you put the link on, it also brings up any photographs that are in the so it's got a really nice visual, and then they can just click on the link and it takes us right back to the article or blog post on ITB Partners, and it's a great benefit and a great way to really you know, expand your exposure.
Mhm. Well, how do you like that softball that I just kind of threw at you?
You're brilliant. I owe you for that one. The check's in the mail.
I'm a marketer. I'm a marketer. No, I think that's a fantastic benefit. And if that, I hope everybody on this call is understanding. I know some of you are in this, some of you have dipped your toe. I would encourage you to create content, and you don't need to have a website to do that. Use LinkedIn publishing platform, share it with the people that you've met in this group, share it with Jim, who has a huge network. And you would be very surprised. You don't need 5,000 views. You need a couple of the right people to take a look at it, and all of a sudden, your snowball is going. So I would encourage you to reach out to me, look on LinkedIn Learning, take some of the other classes that were mentioned by Lynn earlier that are free from Bang. If you need any help with this, please feel free to reach out to me. But LinkedIn Publishing is a great little tool that is super easy to use that can help you to build your personal brand.
You know, Kelly, I'd even say you know, I'm more than happy to help collaborate with people that you know, might be out of the practice of writing. Essentially, what you're writing is an essay.
Yes.
And help edit those, you know, your work, and help you get it to a point where you're comfortable with it. Because what I've come to find out, that, you know, the old saying is that a lot of people would rather die than do you know, public speaking. I think it's almost worse about public writing. For some reason, it's just you know, some of the smartest and sharpest people are just very intimidated about writing and getting out in front of the public, and it's you know, it's really not that big a deal.
Yeah, you and Richard and Leslie Cuban there with the books. You guys have got it going on with your writing skills. So that's a great offer. If anybody wants to take advantage of that, I'm happy to have a second set of eyes on it as well. And if you absolutely cannot or just don't want to write, but you understand the value in this, there are some outsourced writers. There's a group called Writers Access. It's not that expensive for you to give them topics and have them write the article for you. So you can do that. You know, as a writer, I hate those things because, you know, I think that there's a magic that comes with it. But if you're not comfortable, there are tools out there for you to have the writing done for you.
I think my greatest fear of putting something down in writing in this form is, as I'm out there in my search, am I taking a position that might be counter to some prospects that it comes back to, well, I just don't agree with that opinion or that. So you know, it's a bit in the back of my mind. That's probably one of my larger concerns with putting it in print on a permanent basis. On a you know, you live with it. You live with your opinions in this way.
That's absolutely true. My most recent article, if you guys go look at it, it was, does politics have a place on LinkedIn? Because somebody had posted something and they got like 700 comments all over the board about something political, right? I think if you're in financial services, you probably have compliance officers that would review your content for you to make sure you're not saying anything. I know we did in franchising, but you probably would want to stay with some fairly safe topics. But you can, you know, maybe not get controversial, but you can have an opinion on something. And if somebody disagrees with you, guess what that is? It's engagement. So, right. You know, so you walk a fine line. I appreciate what you're saying, Kent. So good. Well, that kind of wraps it up for me. I know everybody's probably got a busy day. I do want to just thank Richard, Jim, Leslie Cuban really the entire Bing network for helping me to understand the value of keeping your network going. You never know when your CEO is going to call you and say, guess what, we're restructuring, see ya. Didn't expect it, didn't know it was coming, opened up my network, called, started it, and it was like a cavalry. It was like a blanket that came over me during my job transition. So just want to throw that out there, and thank you guys.
Kelly,
Well, Kelly,
thanks for your talk today. It was very helpful. I hope everybody that was on will take that to heart and use LinkedIn in some new ways that they haven't used it before. And I think the fact that it was like a cavalry is a testament to the concept. Some of you saw the movie Pay It Forward, and Kelly is a pay it forward person. So when you not only build your network, but you pay it forward, then the cavalry is there for you when you need it. And a guy wrote a book called Dig Your Well Before You're Thirsty. And that's what I relate to. If you are proactively helping people as you build your network, then you are really digging your networking well, so that when you need the water, it's there for you. So thanks again, Kelly.
does anybody have any other questions for Kelly or Richard or me, or just in general? Okay, well, unless anybody's got any objections, I guess we can end the meeting just a little bit early today.